Upfront and Outspoken with Bob Williams. If you love the Constitution,
man is not free unless government is limited.
If you love freedom,
as government expands, liberty contracts.
If you believe in personal responsibility, if you believe America is still the greatest nation on earth, then get ready for an experience you'll never forget. This is Upfront and Outspoken. Here's your host, Bob Williams.
Some folks are born made to wave the flag. Ooh, they're red, white, and blue.
And welcome back. This is Upfront Outspoken. I'm your loudmouth host, Bob Williams. Glad to have you along with me on this Tuesday. Let's get into the weather, then I'm going to get into what's going to piss off Oklahoma. That's right. Today, sunny, high near 86 degrees. For tonight, a 20% chance of showers and thunderstorms after 1 a.m. And for your Wednesday, mostly sunny, high near 86 degrees. Currently in Poto, it is clear and 66 degrees. And in Callington, right outside of our studio windows, it is clear and 61 degrees. That's thanks to our in-house weatherman, Scott Clark. One other thing before I get into what's pissing off Oklahoma, or what's going to piss them off. I want to remind everybody that if you remember, we had a young lady who had an issue. She walked out of a very abusive relationship, but in the process, in doing so, all she had was the clothes on her back and her car. And the people at Nana's Resale in Panama, Oklahoma, I got to thank you guys for going up and beyond the call of duty. So I'm encouraging everybody, go visit Nana's Resale Store at 604 Kentucky Avenue in Panama. Her hours are 7 a.m. to 2:45 p.m. Monday through Friday, and you can give them a call at 918-721-4060. There you go. All right, what now? Everybody's asking me, okay, Bob, now that you got that out of the way, how can you piss off people? I do that all the time. I do it all the time. But it seems the Supreme Court is really going to piss off people. And all of you, Bible-thumping idiots out there, wake up to your morning, because the United States Supreme Court has rejected appeals against gay marriage in 5 states, including Indiana, Utah, Virginia, Wisconsin, and, yes, Oklahoma. The move increases the number of states where same-sex marriage is legal up to 30, plus the District of Columbia. By declining to hear the appeals, the court left intact lower court rulings that had struck down those states' ban on gay marriage. Support for gay marriage in the United States has gained momentum since the Supreme Court delivered 2 landmark rulings in 2003. Monday's rulings means that 9 justices of the court have stopped short from resolving the question of same-sex marriage nationwide, but it was receiving praises by gay marriage campaigners. Yes, Oklahoma. Yes, Oklahoma. You had a ban against same-sex marriage. And guess what? Guess what? Because the Supreme Court rejected hearing anything about it, the Federal Court of Appeals that oversees Oklahoma, that ruling is now law in the state of Oklahoma. That's right. Same-sex marriages are now legal in the state of Oklahoma. And everyone out there, all you Bible-thumping idiots who say that this is an abomination, well, you better just suck up. Suck it up. It's legal. It's now law. And like I said, that's going to piss off a lot of people. Well, let it go ahead and piss you off. I really don't give a damn because, I am an equal opportunity offender at times. I am. I'm what they call an equal opportunity offender. If I piss you off, well then so be it. But I'm going to also give you the wake-up call. The wake-up call. And this is your morning wake-up call. Wake up, Oklahoma. Smell the roses. And guess what? You're not going to like that smell. Many of you who are those ultra-Christian, those of you who have come to my door knocking on it, holding the Bible in your hand and wanting me to convert to whatever, either a Jehovah's Witness or whatever, guess what? You are going to hate our government. But guess what? It's the same government you elected. You elected. The same people that you tried so hard to stop Oklahoma from, allowing same-sex marriage. Wisconsin, my home state, was one of those people that did everything they could. They tried to write an amendment to their constitution that marriage was between a man and a woman. Similar to what Oklahoma did, similar what Utah did, similar what Indiana did, and Virginia did. Oh, you all lost. Because the Supreme Court decided it was not going to hear the case. The lower court's decision, which means the appellate court's decisions, are law. Which means now same-sex marriage is the law in Oklahoma. That's right. That's right. It's happening, ladies and gentlemen. Wake up to reality. Wake up to the cold hard fact that the LGBTQ community are catching up on the same equal rights that we have afforded ourselves, African Americans, and others. Women gained suffrage back in the 1920s, where they were finally equal. Although there are those critics, and I agree with them, that women are still not equal in the workforce, and I agree with that. The ERA needs to be passed. The ERA needs to be passed. But the LGBTQ community is catching up. They now have gained the right to marriage in 30 states, plus the District of Columbia, plus the District of Columbia. That only leaves 20 states yet. And you think for 1 minute those states are going to sit there and go, well, let's, keep same-sex marriage as illegal? I got a hunch that given the current status of things, where 30 states of the 50 have now been told by the appeals courts and within their own their judicial bodies, their own legislative bodies, that same-sex marriage should be recognized and allowed. I got a hunch those other 20 states are going to sit there and go, well, maybe if we got a lawsuit pending, we might not want it to go that far. What can I say? But, of course, there are those who have said things, against it, of course. Like Ed Whelan in the National Review said, the court's denial to review in all the pending cases strikes me as grossly irresponsible, as a huge abdication of duty. And part of at least 6 justices. Well, guess what? All 9 of them decided they weren't going to hear it. Another one tweeted of the Cato Institute, Supreme Court declining these cases the victory of gay marriage, but also for letting states do the lifting. Seems about right to me. And Jonathan Adler, writing in the Washington Post, said the real question is what Justice Anthony Kennedy thinks. Is he ready and willing to hold that the Constitution guarantees the right of same-sex marriage? Or is he still conflicted, given his federal sympathies? However, the ruling immediately lifted the delay on same-sex marriages in the 5 states And within hours, there were wedding bells in Virginia. Also, guess what? There were also wedding bells in Tulsa. Yeah. Wedding bells in Tulsa. That was told to me by one of our interns. She said that she's seen it. Yeah. The tide, folks, is turning. The tide is turning. You know, if you remember, we lifted the fact that gays can now serve openly in our military. DOMA was shot down, and that's basically what created what is going on now. Now, if you don't like what is going on, tough turkey, tough toonie. This is now the law. This is the law. Don't like it? Well, then tell the justices on the U.S. Supreme Court. Then tell them. But guess what? Because of the fact that they decided not to hear the cases, the lower court's rulings stand. Once the U.S. Supreme Court refuses to hear a case, ladies and gentlemen, that's it. The issue cannot go back in front of the Supreme Court unless there is a reason for the Supreme Court to look at the case. And in all 5 of these particular cases, the Supreme Court said, no, we are not going to review it. We are not going to make a decision on it. We are going to let the rulings of the lower appeals courts stand. And the reason for that is they first have to look at what those rulings were. They have to first look at them. And if they see in their own mindset that there's a probable reason it should come before them, then they can hear the case. But obviously, our own United States Supreme Court deemed that the rulings of the lower courts were accurate and therefore decided we are not going to hear the cases. So guess what, ladies and gentlemen? Wake up. This is now law of the land. If you are a gay individual or party, or you are a lesbian couple, and you want to get married in Oklahoma, you can go to your courthouse, get your marriage license, and get married, and they can't stop you. That's right. They cannot stop you. And once again, like I said, this is going to piss off all these Bible-thumping, idiotic people who come knocking on my door, want me to be part of Jehovah's Witness, want me to be part of all that craziness that you people do. It's going to piss you off. Welcome to the real world. Gay marriage. Same-sex marriage. I can hear people in the background already cheering the decision of the Supreme Court not to hear it. But like I said, the Supreme Court has to review the decisions of the lower courts. They have to look at it in order to make a determination. Are we going to hear this case? And the Supreme Court, overwhelmingly, I can't say unanimously, but overwhelmingly determined they were not going to hear it. They were going to let the rulings of the lower courts stand, in that the denial of same-sex marriage was indeed a violation of the U.S. Constitution. That's right, of equal protection under the law. Remember that, ladies and gentlemen. Equal protection under the law. It states it right in the Constitution. And yet we were denying same-sex marriage for the longest time. We denied women the right to vote, to be equal. We denied African Americans the same rights. It took the Supreme Court to finally say, hey, equal protection of the law means everyone, all inclusive. All inclusive. You cannot single out a minority. And the LGBTQ community was that minority. Now they are being recognized. Women were a minority, and in the 1920s finally gained recognition by the U.S. Supreme Court. Blacks, African Americans, were denied equality. Granted, it's taken a long time, and we're a long way away from total equality. Excuse me. We're a long way away from equality for everybody, but we're working on it. Give us time. Give us time. And this great country of ours will embrace everybody. Times are changing, folks. This is the real world. Times are changing. And if you want to live back in the Stone Age, you'll go ahead, be my guest. Eventually, you won't be here to throw any stones, will you? This is the law. This is the law. Get over it. My hat off. I tip my hat to all those people of the LGBTQ community who fought and did this. You know, like I said, I'm an equal opportunity offender. I offend the left. I offend the right. I offend, the Republicans, the Democrats, the Independents, the Green Party. I've even offended the gay community. I've offended the African American community. I've offended the Jewish, the Catholics, the Christians. I've offended everyone with some of my comments, but like I said, that's what I love about being independent. I get to offend anybody and everybody. Ain't that nice? But this is the law of the land, folks. This is a reality, and you now have a reality check. Oklahoma, Well, I wonder what your governor is thinking right now. I wonder what she's, it's like, oh my God. Can you imagine the other governors? They're probably all pulling the hair out of their head. How can the Supreme Court do this to us? We are a Christian society. We cannot allow this. Well, the Supreme Court just said, guess what? You got to adhere to what the lower court said. Oh, and I know there's going to be those within the House, within the legislature, they're going to see what they can do in order to hinder, shall we say, put roadblocks in the way of the LGBT community. So it's going to be a very interesting next 48 hours, I'm going to say, when it comes to these states. And like I said, these states, which include, and I love the one, which include Indiana, Virginia, Wisconsin, Oklahoma, and none other than the home of the Mormon Church, Utah. Can you imagine what Mitt Romney's doing right now? Oh, and if you don't know who he is, he ran for president. He didn't make it. But can you imagine what the elders within the Mormon Church are saying right now, because their base, their state has been told you cannot, under any circumstances, disavow or stop gay marriage. Welcome. What can I say? So I tip my hats off to the people who fought for it. Now you are equal, which means you also, when you have kids and all that, have fun paying child support if you get a divorce, because that's exactly what being married and having kids and going through a divorce means. You got to pay child support. You got to pay alimony. You got to pay all that. So welcome to the world. You wanted marriage, you got it, but you also got all the responsibilities of marriage as well. What can I tell you? What I can tell you, it is time for me to get on out of here. I want you to stick around, because coming up here at the bottom of the hour is none other than Ed Till. He'll be with you all the way up until 4 o'clock. So until tomorrow morning, 6 a.m., this is Bob Williams. Take care of yourselves.